now. Just wanted to let everybody know about that. So with that, we will go ahead and get started. I am Travis Giffen. I'm the Assistant Director of Online Programs here at the College of Education. Thank you for coming to our information session on the Instructional Design MasterTrack certificate. We are going to leave the chat on for a little bit longer for folks to introduce themselves before we get into the bulk of the presentation. We will then turn the chat on during the presentation, but if you have questions throughout it, please feel free to submit them into the Q&A chat. That'll be open the whole time. We'll be able to answer those questions, and then we'll have time for question and answer at the end of the presentation. So thank you again all for joining us for the information session today on the Instructional Design MasterTrack certificate program. We're going to finish up with some welcomes here, and then we will get into an overview of the program and learn about the two courses, which you'll hear from our wonderful faculty and instructor who's joined us here today, and then talk about MasterTrack to Master of Education, and then learn a little bit about enrolling in the program before we get to questions and answers. So very quickly, with us here today, we have the Office of Online Programs. I myself am Travis Giffen, the Assistant Director. We have our Director, Sangeetha Gopalakrishnan, who is here today with us. Our Online Student Advisor, Brianna Davis, is also here with us today. And then we are very thankful to have Dr. Debbie Hubrick with us this afternoon also. And with that, I will turn things over to Sangeetha for the next part. I'm going to go ahead and end this poll, and we will turn the chat off until we're done with the presentation here. So with that, I'll turn things over to you, Sangeetha.
Thanks, Travis, and welcome everybody. We're so glad you're here. My name is Sangeetha Gopalakrishnan, and I'm the Director of Online Programs for the College of Education here at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. So I'll give you a very quick overview of the program, and then you'll hear more about it from Dr. Frubeck later on. She will be focusing on the content, and I'll give you an overview. Next slide, please. So what is this program about? So the Instructional Design MasterTrack certificate, did I lose the slide?
Oh, did that just?
Maybe it's just on my end. All right, it's back. So in this certificate program, you'll learn to solve real-world learning and performance challenges. You'll learn to integrate technology with today's learning environments, and you'll master key concepts in instructional and training system design, learning technologies, and more. It is an application-oriented course. So the goal is to give you a lot of real-world experience in instructional design. Next slide, please. So the Instructional Design MasterTrack certificate is composed of two courses, EPOL 472 and EPOL 483. Each of these courses is for 4 credit hours. So together, you'll be completing 8 credit hours, and there are 8 graduate credit hours totally. Next slide, please. So some important aspects of the certificate program is that you'll need a bachelor's degree to enroll in the MasterTrack certificate program. The total tuition is $2,384. You can complete these 8 graduate credit hours or these 2 courses in as few as 4 months or 7 months, depending on when you start. And you are earning graduate credits for it. And these graduate credits may be applied to a degree program should you choose to continue onto a master's degree. This certificate program comprises of weekly live sessions. And as I mentioned earlier, it's an application-oriented certificate program, so it will include hands-on projects. Our students, the students in this program, really come from a variety of settings. They come from higher education, healthcare, IT, business and industry, K-12, military, and a variety of settings, really. Anyone who's interested in designing instruction, who's working in a training setting, or who's an educator, really, there are people with from multiple sectors that are interested in this program. Some of them are already doing instructional design and they want to get a more knowledge about how to do it well. And some are, of course, looking to transition into roles that have an instructional design focus. So some of the job titles of students that have completed this MasterTrack certificate, some of their job titles include, again, this is not an exhaustive list. So instructional designer, curriculum developer, e-learning specialist, trainer, training and development specialist, training and development manager, instructional coordinator, and so on and so forth. So many of them go on to do really interesting jobs where they utilize their instructional design expertise. So with that, I'm going to hand over the session to Dr. Hrubeck, who's going to talk more in depth about the content.
Hello, everyone. It is a pleasure to be with you today, and I'm so happy that you've joined us. It's always a pleasure to speak to my alma mater, University of Illinois. I am currently the adjunct lecturer for EPOL 432, and they just recently asked me to be the instructor for 483, learning technologies. So I will be also teaching the course that follows 472. I am also the Senior Process Improvement and Learning and Development Specialist for the Ohio State University here in Columbus, Ohio, where I am broadcasting from. I hope you can all hear me okay. It's a little bit windy, but sunny here today. I earned both my doctorate and my master's degrees at University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign in human resource education. My research interest really focused on the meaning of work, meaningfulness, and engagement in the world of technology. So, I also have a breadth of experience in strategic learning and development, teaching, instructional design, and workplace training across different industries: healthcare, government, business, higher education, and the nice thing about what I'm doing now, between being the adjunct lecturer for the University of Illinois and practicing here at the Ohio State University, is I get to bridge that gap between research, teaching, and practice, which is my passion. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about Dr. Grace O. She is the one of the instructional designers. She was the instructional designer and professor for EPOL 472. And she is currently the associate professor in the Department of Education Policy, Organization, and Leadership. She also has an array of professional experiences as an instructional designer, an HRD specialist, evaluator, and a consultant. She teaches courses on instructional training systems design, learning technologies, online teaching and learning, adult professional education, program evaluation, and the management of e-learning. So I am standing on the shoulders of giants here at University of Illinois. Next slide, please. It's also been a privilege to work with Dr. David Huang. He is the professor for the Department of Education Policy, Organization, and Leadership. We shorten it to EPOL. His academic background consists of material science and engineering, learning design and technology, and executive business administration. That has enabled him to conduct interdisciplinary projects for instructional and research purposes across different contexts. Dr. Huang investigates learning engagement and technology acceptances in various workplaces and studies instructional effects and efficacy of gamification, socialization, and open distribution of technology-enabled and enriched learning experiences, which we'll talk a little bit about, which is kind of the foundation of EPOL 483. Next slide, please. So taking a closer look at the content, I'm not sure if I'm missing a slide now or if it's just the next one. Yes, there we go. So EPOL 472 is instructional and training system design. It is a very dynamic, accelerated course that you'll learn key components of instructional and training systems design, guided by instructional design models such as ADDIE, and rooted in various learning and instructional theories. This course will prepare you to select, organize, and develop effective instruction and training, no matter what context you are in. You'll also gain a very deep understanding of how people learn cognitively and emotionally, so that the development of learning content and design will be more tailored, meaningful, and engaging for any type of workplace or higher education instructional needs for the organization. Next slide, please. So EPOL 472, the foundation rests on theoretical and conceptual theory, and we use the framework of ADDIE, which, if you look on the right side of your screen, that is analyze, design, develop, implement, and evaluate training. So we explore each one of those components in the instructional design training process. The design instructional solution to learning and performance challenges is explored through a big instructional design project, case study scenarios on instructional design, and an e-portfolio development, so that you can walk away from the course and have an artifact that demonstrates your skills to future employers. Next slide, please. So let's talk a little bit about the major assignments. There's a few minor things, but these are the major projects. I think the ones that you really get a lot of value out of. One is the instructional design project. As I just spoke about, we use the ADDIE system and a process that underlies that system by Smith and Reagan. That's the textbook that we use. And that, so often we look at frameworks, but we don't always look at the process that happens within those frameworks, right? So you will be building an instructional design project where you will analyze the context, analyze learners, analyze the problem, and then you'll begin to design your or develop your learning objectives, and then design your learning strategies. And then we'll look at the macro and micro elements of implementation. And then finally, that evaluation process. You'll create a design document that kind of is your pathway from start to finish, and also produce a few artifacts to support your learning strategies. The instructional design case scenarios you'll work on, where you will choose one scenario and you will evaluate and develop an action plan to a case that centers on a particular aspect of the design process. So, and we'll talk about that here shortly. And then the e-portfolio development, which is your take home at the end of the class. Next slide, please. So a little more on the instructional design project. As an instructional designer, you will be asked to design and develop an education program to fulfill the learning needs of your target audience. So in this project, You will play a key role in conducting the front-end analysis that I spoke about. You'll also define those learning objectives. You'll select relevant technologies. You'll develop the learning materials, a few artifacts. You'll, including your item specifications for assessments, and you'll evaluate the learning design outcomes. Next slide, please. The individual or the instructional design case study scenarios, as I said, there's 4. You will choose one. You can choose scenario 1 if you'd like. That is the analysis scenario. That is, you will conduct an analysis for new training and development for project managers. The second one is the design scenario, that you'll look at macro design decisions for new trainings. Scenario 3 is the implementation piece. So you could choose to focus in on the implementation of the management process. And then the last option would be your scenario 4, which is evaluation. Next slide, please. So as a thread to these 2 courses is e-learning, the EPO 483, which is the Learning Technologies course. And this course is a little different. It is an add-on, if you want to look at it that way, to help learners develop their skills in identifying, selecting, justifying the implementation of learning technologies in the overall e-learning environment and technology enriched and enabled learning environment, the TLE, design, implementation, and evaluation process. I know that's a mouthful, isn't it? But we are in the age of technology, and ever since projectors were invented, learning and design professionals have always tried to leverage technology in some way to bring it into the classroom, to convey information, but also to utilize that in reinforcing learning, right? And having different options, making learning engaging. So we're going to explore learning technologies in a little different way. We'll also learn how to align learning technologies to instructional system design models. And I just lost my slide there. We'll look at existing learning technologies and the learning environment design blueprints together to solve an organizational learning performance problem across different contexts. Next slide, please. So this course, the Learning Technology course, is situated in e-learning and technology enriched and enabled learning environments. So we will explore learning technologies, the ELTs. We will focus on design case studies on learning technologies. And we'll also, as an option, you can add on to that portfolio that I spoke about that you will develop in 472. So some of the things that we'll be looking at for the learning technologies is learning design and technology, learning with technology, theories, frameworks, and models for design, the evolution of learning technology, immersive learning environments, and trends and values. And I will say the immersive learning environment is really a very rapidly advancing environment to explore. In fact, in my position here at OSU, we are currently looking at some of those immersive learning environments. So that will be very interesting to see how all of that develops. And I'd love to share that with you in class. Next slide, please. So of the major assignments for EPO 483, there is exploring the learning technologies. Those are group oriented projects where you will have each week there are several different types of e-learning technologies. You will work as a group to explore a particular e-learning technology and give a 10-minute presentation on that. These e-learning technologies will be assigned for different groups at different points in the class. The design case studies on learning technologies, you will complete all 3 of them, and those we'll talk about here in a little bit, and then again that optional piece of adding to your e-portfolio development. Next slide, please. So the design case study scenarios, scenario 1 is looking at converting company regulations and policies into interactive e-learning environments. Scenario 2 is fostering safe and inclusive workplace cultures through firsthand experience. And scenario 3 is improving transfer of learning and performance to various contexts through the use of technology. Next slide, please. There might be a delay on my side.
We can hear you now.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so the e-portfolio development is, this is following 472. So ideally, if you take 472 first, you will develop your e-portfolio through a University of Illinois Digication format, and that you can take with you even after you complete the course. You will develop your e-portfolio demonstrating your competencies as an instructional designer and of various learning and training systems. So we've done that instructional design piece in 472, and then in learning technologies, you can add your project as a 4th page, so to speak. And one thing that employers love to see is artifacts of your talents. So it's a really nice additive and take home when you've completed the course. Next slide, please. And I think the program format, do I turn the mic over?
Yep. We're
Okay.
gonna.
All right, thank you.
Yes, thanks so much. Can you guys hear me okay? Excellent. So now that we have discussed the course content, you've gotten to know a little bit more about the 2 classes that you'll be taking as a part of this program. We'd like to just take a few slides to talk about the program format and the way in which the courses will be delivered to you as a student. So the classes are hosted entirely online, and they do revolve around weekly synchronous sessions. Collaboration is key in this program. So the synchronous sessions offer a really great opportunity for you to interact with your colleagues and professors live and in real time. This allows you to engage in group work in a really authentic way that is conducive to an enriched learning experience. And it also provides you with access to necessary supports from instructors and TAs via channels such as office hours. Next slide, please. So the weekly synchronous sessions meet 1 night per week from 6 to 8 p.m. Central Time. The course schedule is always available online, which will show you the different days during which the courses will meet. Currently, those courses are to be held on Thursdays from 6 to 8, but that's certainly subject to change from one term to the next. So just be mindful of that as you're looking at the courses online. As a student in the Coursera Instructional Design MasterTrack certificate program, the first 2 live sessions are required. So you will need to attend those first 2 sessions as a requirement, but we certainly encourage you to participate in all of the other class sessions. It's highly recommended so that way you can get the very most out of this course. The synchronous sessions are the best way to get the most out of your experience in these classes. So they allow you the opportunity to interact again directly with your instructor and peers, as well as to have the ability to ask questions in real time. Next slide, please. As previously mentioned, the MasterTrack certificate courses can stack and serve as a pathway to our Master of Education in Education Policy Organization and Leadership program. So this means that if you would like to earn your master's degree at the College of Education at the University of Illinois after you've concluded your MasterTrack certificate, you can apply the 2 courses that you have completed through this program to your Master of Education program. You know, we know that you're all going to have a great experience in this program, and we hope that you'll join us for your master's degree. For your reference, your completed coursework can be applied to any of our concentrations that are listed below, which are all offered as a part of, again, our Education Policy Organization and Leadership Master's program. If you're interested in learning more about our master's programs, you can visit education.illinois.edu/online. There you'll be able to learn more about the master's course requirements and how the MasterTrack certificate can form a pathway to your master's degree program. If you're interested in pursuing your master's degree, I do want to note that we encourage you to first complete your MasterTrack certificate and then apply to the master's program, so that way you can take full advantage of the 2 discounted MasterTrack courses that are offered by Coursera through this program prior to enrolling as a degree-seeking student at the college. So I know we've got a couple questions that we've seen from people regarding the enrollment process for the Idmtc. So we're going to talk about that just briefly to provide a little bit of clarity. A bachelor's degree is required to enroll in the Instructional Design MasterTrack certificate program. So if you're thinking about enrolling in this program, just please know that a bachelor's degree is required. The total cost of the program for both courses is $2,384. So once you enroll, you will pay the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign for each Instructional Design MasterTrack certificate course. So when we look at those on an individual basis, each course is $1,192 US. In terms of enrolling in the MasterTrack certificate program, you can start that enrollment process online, either at the Coursera webpage, or you can certainly go to education.illinois.edu/online. When you go to that page, you will see an Apply Now button. You can go ahead and click on that, and you will see a box that pops up that looks similar to the one pictured here on the slide. You will want to select Certificate of Specialization, as this is a non-degree program, and that will take you to the registration form to register for courses through our Center of Innovation in Teaching and Learning. So from there, you'll create a login and password if you have not already done so previously. You'll select the term for which you would like to begin courses, and you'll select the course that you would like to take as a part of this program. From there will be some additional questions on that registration form, and you will go ahead and submit that, and then our team will be in touch with you shortly thereafter to provide you with your next steps. Fall 2022 registration is still open. Registration for our Fall Term B closes on October 3rd. For your reference, our Fall Term B session, which is the second 8 weeks of our fall semester, officially begins on October 17th. So again, that registration deadline is 2 weeks prior on October 3rd. So if you're hoping to begin this fall term, good news is you don't have to wait too long before that term begins. You can get started very quickly, but again, you will need to register no later than October 3rd. If you do have questions after our session has concluded, or if you run into any bumps in the road whenever you are going through the registration process, please reach out to us or post questions in the Q&A box. If you'd like to reach out to us via email to kind of further talk about your unique circumstance, you can reach us at gradservices@education.illinois.edu. And I believe at this time, I'm handing it over to Sangeeta.
Yes, we've been busy trying to answer your questions in the Q&A. Lots of good questions are coming up, and we're doing our best to answer them. And I want to encourage you to keep asking your questions. And if we don't get to your specific question, as Brianna said, I want to reiterate that you can email us and we'll do our best to answer your question. So you've heard a lot of great information. leading up to this point about the Instructional Design MasterTrack Certificate program. And if you're wondering still why choose education in Illinois, and wanted to give you some things to think about. Next slide, please, Travis. So as you may already know, the University of Illinois is a top-tier research university. Our online programs here at the College of Education, our online master's programs have been ranked #3 in 2022 and in 2021 by the US News and World Reports. So for being a top-tier university, we're affordable. Our courses are taught by well-renowned faculty, faculty who have rich research agendas and great teaching practices. We focus on student engagement, our online student engagement. You will be in class with peers who come from a variety of backgrounds. They have rich work experiences, so you will be learning a lot from your peers as well. And as a top-tier research university, the University of Illinois has excellent resources, including library resources, which are available for our online students. So those are some excellent reasons to consider getting an education from the University of Illinois. Next slide, please. Yes, in our curriculum, in addition to being ranked #3 overall for our online master's programs, our curriculum and instruction program was ranked #7. So we're doing well in our national rankings. So with that, I encourage you to join the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign and get your MasterTrack certificate program from us. Is that the end of our session, Travis? So it goes back to you, right?
Yeah, now we are open for questions. So I know folks have been getting those in the chat. So thank you for those. But we also can answer some of these live. So one of the questions I see here that I think would be great to answer live, Debbie, if you're there and you could answer this, will the two courses cover SAM or other agile development processes?
They don't really cover, it doesn't cover SAM or Agile. We tend to focus on ADDIE. However, the textbook that we use focuses on the design process itself. So ADDIE is our framework, just like SAM is a framework, just like Agile is a framework. But within that framework, we learn about the different types of things that you need to know, those background processes that make those frameworks work. So we do focus on ADDIE, but everything that you will learn in this class, you can apply to SAM, you can apply to Agile in different work contexts. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, thank you for that. And then I think similarly, will any of the courses cover other types of LMSs, or how do LMSs incorporate into instructional design, or would those potentially be covered later on if you choose to do the master's program? Right. So in EPOL 483, one of the e-learning technologies that we look at and that you will explore either as a group or on your own will be LMS technologies. So what type of learning management systems are out there? And so that's one of your group projects, if that's what the LMS ILT that you're assigned to. You will work with a group to go out, explore the different learning management systems that are out there, and then provide a 10-minute presentation on that LMS. So that's kind of how we frame that. So you get a pretty well rounded knowledge of the different types of LMS technologies out there. I hope that answered your question.
Can I jump in here?
Sure.
I see there are multiple questions which pertain to the software. What software will we be learning or using? What should they already know? That sort of a question.
Right. So the software, you will explore different learning softwares. Each of the learning technologies, it will center on group projects. So one week, several groups will present on several different types of e-learning technologies. The learning management systems is one, maybe learning strategies using technologies will be another week, where different groups will go out and they'll explore, and then they'll come back to the table and present what they found. So you will learn it that way. You won't really be applying technology or needing software such as authoring software like Articulate or Camtasia or Captiva or Adobe. You won't be using those types of technologies. The only software that you will really be using is the Coursera platform. No, it does not. I see a question by Sarah. Does the program offer direct experience with authoring tools like Storyline or Articulate? No. One of the things that you can do, though, through the University of Illinois and their web store, if you have a University of Illinois address, you can sign up for free tutorials through LinkedIn, if you're a LinkedIn through LinkedIn Learning. So that is one way to kind of explore a Storyline and Articulate. I love Articulate. I use it here, but you do not need to purchase that authoring tool or any other authoring tools. You will go out and explore them. Textbooks. So 472 does use one textbook. You can purchase it online through Amazon or any other online bookstore, used bookstore. It is by Smith & Reagan. It's instructional design. I believe it's the 3rd edition. However, in EPO 483, all of the texts are available through digital text. Anonymous says, it was mentioned that the two first courses are live and required. Would the other courses be recorded? I'm sorry, the chat is jumping around. That we check on our own time. Yes. So the first 2 courses for an MTC student are required to attend. There's a lot of really great information to help get you started. And then we do record every live session, and that is posted the next day through our Illinois Media channel. That is a channel specifically designed for the MasterTrack students, that you can view the live session, the live recorded session.
I'm happy to answer Emily's question here. It says, do you have to enroll in the master's program within a certain time after doing the MasterTrack certificate? Do the credits ever expire? That's a great question. We do encourage students, if they're hoping to move from the MasterTrack to the master's degree, we do encourage students to do that shortly thereafter, solely because if there is any sort of variation in the content that's being taught in the courses that you take through the MasterTrack certificate, that can certainly impact your ability to apply those to your master's program whenever you're petitioning to apply those courses. It's my understanding that there's not a specific timeline under which these courses expire, but whenever you apply to the program, you will submit a petition form that will then allow us to kind of review the courses that you've taken and ensure that they meet the requirements for the master's program. So we encourage you to, if you're planning to pursue the master's program, to do that shortly after completion of the MasterTrack certificate.
So I see a couple of questions, which I can take a shot at answering. It has to do with the timeline of 4 to 7 months, and it looks like some of our participants want to know more about that. So it really, the 7-month or 4-month timeline depends on when you start. So if you start in fall, in the beginning of the fall semester, you can finish both the courses back to back, and you would finish in 4 months. Similarly, if you start in the beginning of our spring semester, which here at the University of Illinois is January, so you can finish both courses by May. However, if you start in March, let's say if you start in March, we currently don't have a summer offering, so it could take 7 months for you to finish. So that's the scenario for the 7 months, but you can finish in as few as 4 months if you start at the beginning of the fall semester or the beginning of the spring semester, or the middle of the fall semester, and you'll finish in the middle of the spring semester. So those are some scenarios where you can finish it in as few as 4 months.
Thank you. Also, while we're getting close to, we still have time here, but while people are still here, just wanted to quick ask a yes or no question of, did this event meet your expectations or was it useful to you? Thank you for your feedback. We still have time to keep answering questions. So thank you for all the great questions so far.
I guess, Debbie, there's a question that maybe you can field. I'll read it out aloud. Are assignments ever due the day they have live sessions, I guess?
Yes, so in EPOL 472, the assignments are generally due by noon CST time on the day of class. In EPOL 483, they are generally due on Sunday evening. So you have to think of the courses start on Monday and they end on Sunday. But courses, the live class sessions are on Thursday evenings. So you'll start, technically you will start, say, week 1 on a Monday, but it will end on Sunday. And you will have a Thursday class in between that time frame. And that's the way it is for 8 weeks. Each course is 8 weeks in length. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, so
And-
we will definitely send a recording of this to everybody who's registered for the event. So you can view all this great information once more.
Any last big questions from everyone? Well, I'll give folks a few minutes here while I do some closing up to make sure that there aren't any last questions that anybody has. As is here on the slide here, and as we had mentioned before, if you have any questions afterwards about anything that happened in the presentation today or follow up about the Instructional Design MasterTrack Certificate Program, you can reach us at gradservices@education.illinois.edu. We will be happy to answer your questions that you have. registration for classes that start on October 17th. If you have not already registered in the program, you need to be registered by October 3rd, and that registration is open now. So you can register for the second half of fall to start classes on October 17th.
It occurs to me that I can paste the URLs. I think some of our participants are looking at registering possibly in spring, and they were asking about spring registration dates. So maybe we could post the URL for our website here so that they can keep an eye out for spring registration dates. But we are also, we will also be sending out deadline reminders to those of you who are interested. So you should keep an eye out for those as well.
I'm getting that web link for everybody. There is the direct web link to the Instructional Design MasterTrack certificate page. Any upcoming deadlines will always be shared on that page, and keep that page up to date with upcoming information. I see a few last questions here. There's a question here that Debbie, I think that maybe you could answer best. So somebody was asking, would I be employable in an ID capacity with the skills I gained from these courses? Would I really have what I need to, or would I really have to get some experience with Articulate or Storyline before I make myself more employable in this field?
Sure, I can tell you first, this field, instructional design, is really growing, and it's hot right now. What the MasterTrack certificate program provides for you is good foundational and theoretical knowledge of adult learning theory, the processes of instructional design, how to really analyze and determine what your learning objectives are, what the end goal of your learning design package is, so that you can take that to an employer and be an instructional designer for whether it be an educational instruction piece or whether it be a training program. I can tell you through my experience that has served me well. Technology you will always be able to learn, and most employers, if you have the nuts and bolts, will look at and some aptitude for technology. They will look at that, and they understand that unless you came from an organization that utilized those technologies, you will likely need to be trained in those technologies. Now, after completing my doctorate, here's what I did, and this is what I would suggest if you are currently looking to transition in careers. After I graduated with my doctorate, one of the things that we don't really focus on is the practical application, which is why I love my job in the practical sense, because you really get a feel for what's happening in the higher education world, in the practice field. So what I did, because we didn't really have a lot of opportunity to utilize learning technologies and authoring technologies, I went ahead as I was looking for job opportunities and started, I took the trial version of Articulate and learned the easiest piece, which was Storyline. I created a few different learning modules on Storyline that I could share with my employer that demonstrated my skill in authoring. And then as you get in, you begin to really learn and develop own skills with learning technologies. There's lots of ways to go about learning different authoring material, authoring tools, different learning strategy tools, even things like Jamboard. You've probably done Kahoot. All of those things are learning technologies, right? So the benefit of 483 is that you get to really explore what they are like, the pros, the cons, the, you know, what they're all about. And then if you're interested in going a particular direction, you can. But go out, I would encourage you to go out, look at some of the instructional design job descriptions for maybe a position you want to hold. If you are entering the field in an entry-level capacity, this will give you the skills for that. If you have experience that you are already bringing to the table, the nice thing about the MasterTrack certificate program is it is from a very prestigious university. The value behind the certificate will be a competitive advantage for you on your resume, for sure. I hope that answered your questions. You know, there's not a real easy answer for that. A lot depends on where you're located, what your career goals are, what your level of experience is, and, you know, what your goals are, right? Your career goals. But this is definitely a good start if you're looking to transition.
Similarly, Debbie, I just saw a question in the chat that someone has a background in early education and they're going to take this, if they take the MasterTrack in ID, whether they can find something in education outside of the classroom. So given that my own background is in instructional design as well, I would say yes, definitely. But Debbie, maybe you can speak to that.
Sure. One of the nice things about the instructional design project is I had students in the previous class last spring, and I have students this term as well that are focusing on instructional designs for higher education. Keep in mind that even if you are an elementary school teacher looking to transition, which I have several of them, and middle school and high school as well, that are looking to transition to get out, unfortunately, to get out of education and into the corporate world. So they're using this course as kind of that stepping stone. It will give you, no matter what context that you want to work in, you will be able to make that transition, that jump, because it gives you the solid theory and practice that you can take wherever it is that you want to go and however you want to transition. The nice thing is, as an educator, you already have a nice foundational background, and it's okay to stick with that. And I would say to our wonderful educators in our K through 12, there are a lot of possibilities also in the education realm that don't necessarily focus on teaching. So for instance, I'm following my passion being an adjunct lecturer. I love to teach, but at the same time, I really like to practice my skills. I love to be able to share my expertise in my job. My job is operational. I practice what I have learned all through these years and through my years of experience in the field. So the nice thing is the world is your oyster. So set your goals, decide what you would like to do with it. This is a good stepping stone if you're looking to transition. I have had several students that are doing just that, and this provides a nice foundational piece for you to demonstrate your skills in making that transition. Somebody was asking about the syllabus. It does not exist on the U of I website. The question was, thanks, but I don't see the syllabus here. Does one exist on the U of I website? I requested the syllabus from the page you cite, but never received it. I'm sure that if you reach out to Travis or Brianna, they can forward me your request and I'll be happy to send you the syllabus for both 472 and 483.
Thank you for all of the great questions. With that, I think we're going to call it a wrap. We got through the questions. I think we're at a good stopping place right now. Give everybody back maybe a minute, maybe a few seconds. I know time is precious for everyone, but want to thank everybody for coming again to our information session today on the Instructional Design MasterTrack certificate. If you have questions, again, you can reach us at gradservices@education.illinois.edu. This session was recorded and the recording will get sent out to everybody who attended. Thanks for all of the feedback in the polls and questions throughout the presentation today. And I hope everyone has a great rest of the day, no matter where you're at. Take care.